Wimbledon, the animal rights group PETA sent a group of bikini-clad models to the tennis tournament where they gave attendees strawberries with dairy-free cream to promote veganism. Sounds harmless enough, but now PETA is being denounced by feminists for, quote, 70s-style sexism, using attractive women to get attention, critics say, is a form of bodily exploitation, no different from milking cows. Wendy Osefo is a feminist and a political commentator, and she joins us now. So, Wendy, if this bothers you, what's it like for you to go to the beach where there are literally thousands of women in bikinis? I mean, you must go crazy. Do you try to cover them, or how do you respond?
Absolutely not. It doesn't bother me when I go to the beach. The issue here is around the issue of sexually exploiting women when it comes to the PETA ads. Whether it's having women in a cage or whether PETA does something like telling adults to drink breast milk, it's just something that really goes against how we should be looking at women. There's no reason why a grown adult should be asked to drink breast milk. You know, they use these type of exploitative acts to ask people.
I'm sorry. We can get those points, but I'm not for adults drinking breast milk. I think it sounds gross.
Exactly, and that's what they're asking people to do.
But why do you? But why does that bother you? I mean, maybe some people like it. I mean, I thought feminism was about choice.
Actually, feminism is making sure that women and men have equal rights. So what PETA is doing is they're trying to over-sexualize women to make people buy their products and buy their mission. And at the end of the day, I think that what PETA is doing is great. I think it's awesome. No one believes in animal cruelty, and quite frankly, if you do, then we have to look at you a certain type of way. But at the end of the day, it's about mission and mission creep. If you have to use women in a sexual manner to be able to advance your mission, then you have to question whether your method is flawed.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
The women in question, you're looking at them right there wearing the bikinis. Are they adults? Are they adults or are they children?
They are adults, and they have the right to use their body in any way they want to.
Well, I guess that's kind of the question. I mean, I don't think there's any evidence they were coerced or forced at gunpoint to do this. But you're behaving as if they're children being exploited, or they're too dumb to know what they're doing or what it means. Do you know that they're too dumb to know what it means, or
no one is behaving as if they're too dumb?
No
one is behaving as if they're too dumb to know what to do. What we're saying is that if your mission is solely based on using women in a sexualized manner to get your mission across, then you have to start making pivots.
What do you mean
then
using women?
You have to start making pivots to advance your mission in a better way.
I'm going to have to. You said that. I just want to bring you back to the question at hand, though.
I answered it.
These women chose to do this. No, they chose to do it. And I thought that part of equality was being able to make your own choices, even choices others might disagree with, because as an adult, you have that agency, that freedom to do it. So when did these women lose the right to wear bikinis if they want to? And who are you to tell them they can't?
And they never lost that right, Tucker. What is being said is that if a company historically and systematically uses women in a sexualized manner to continuously try to get their mission across, whether you have women locked up in a cage,
but what if they volunteered for it? What about the okay? You're making generalizations about all women.
I'm not making generalizations. I'm actually giving you specifics of what PETA has done in the past.
Two specific women. But what if they want to? What if they volunteered for it? What if this is their choice? And I think the evidence suggests it is their choice, and they did want to.
It is their choice.
That's not a valid expression of feminism?
What you're doing is you're trying to place blame on the individuals as opposed to looking at the million-dollar company.
I'm not blaming. I'm not against strawberries and cream, honestly.
And that's exactly what you're doing, because you keep on asking about the women. It's not about the women, because I'm sure they were paid for it. I'm sure they didn't do this against their will.
It's not about the women. Okay, right. You just answered your own question, because it's not actually about the women, is it?
It's about the mission of the organization, Tucker.
It's never really about the women, is it? It's about the mission of the organization,
Tucker. It's if you use women to exploit them. That's what the issue is.
Maybe that's the problem with modern feminism. It's not really about the women. It's about
modern feminism is all about equality. And as a father of 3 girls, I'm surprised that you don't feel as though feminism matters. And that's really sad.
I live with 4 women in my house, and I treat them like adults because they are, and because I respect them.
And we will not sexualize anybody.
Wendy, thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tucker.
Well, speaking of feminism, one of the organizers of last January's Women's March is planning a new protest, this time specifically targeting the NRA, the National Rifle Association. Protest comes in the wake of an NRA ad in which radio show host Dana Lash went after Hollywood, the press, and other left-leaning anti-gun institutions in America. Here it is.
And then they used their ex-president to endorse the resistance, all to make them march, make them protest, make them scream racism and sexism and xenophobia and homophobia, to smash windows, burn cars, shut down interstates and airports, bully and terrorize the law-abiding.
Dana Lash joins us tonight. Hers was the voice you heard in that ad. So, Dana, are you going to the Women's March?
Oh, Tucker, it's not the Women's March. It's only some women's march. They don't like pro-life women's groups. They don't like women who want to be empowered to use the Second Amendment to defend themselves. So I wasn't invited. They don't really like all women.
I've noticed that. How frustrating is it? I've always thought if there was a men's march that only accepted certain kinds of men who believed only a certain set of things that I happen to not believe, and yet they claim to speak for all men, it would drive me crazy. How do you feel as a woman when you see this march presented as a march that represents every woman?
Yeah. Well, they don't represent every woman. And frankly, Tucker, I know that they've been trying to flail their arms and get an apology from me or the millions of members of the NRA, and one is not coming. I just want to state that very clearly. I think my ad's fabulous, and it's absolutely correct. Stop burning down buildings and we don't have a problem. But I'm not going to be lectured to by a women's organization that features as a key figurehead a convicted terrorist. I'm not going to be lectured to by some women's organization where the organizer called for jihad against President Trump just recently while speaking at a pretty extremist conference at which Anwar al-Awlaki spoke at in 2001. I'm not going to be lectured, Tucker, by some women, in fact, organization where they go after people like Ayan Hirsi Ali and they try to shame her for being a female genital mutilation survivor, saying that she needs to be beaten up and have her vagina taken away. So no, I'm not going to be lectured by this fake feminist women's organization. And in fact, I dare say that if these fake feminists want to see some real women, real empowered women, women who actually support and encourage varied viewpoints, they can take a trip to the NRA.
Well, that's kind of the obvious point. I've spent a lot of time at various protests, and you wish the press was honest enough just to acknowledge the obvious, which is if you go to an NRA event and you go to an event like the Women's March, who's happier, who's more polite, who's more decent to the people in their immediate vicinity? I mean, it's like not even close, actually. Just being honest. It's true.
No, it's not. And you know what? We're not going to keep out people just based on ideological differences. There are Democrats in the NRA. There are atheists in the NRA. There are pro-choice members, pro-life members. You're not going to find a more varied group. But the one thing that members of the NRA don't like, and by the way, it was from their concerns this ad came because they were very concerned about a lot of the violent actions that they had seen from the violent faction on the left. One of the things that we all don't support is burning down buildings as a form of protected speech or punching people in the face if they're wearing a Trump hat or anything like that. That's what we don't support. But no, Tucker, this is not a real feminist organization. They're only for women who think like them. It's a bigoted, fake feminist women's organization. They owe us an apology, not the other way around.
Dana Lash, it's great to see you tonight. Thanks for coming on.